Hey everyone, welcome to Primary Market Chatter brought to you by Sunday Investing. This is the part 2 of July 5th week IPOs. It's been a long, hectic week. We have had like 6 to 7 IPOs already closed, and then we have 5, 6 more which are opening in the next 1 or 2 days. So, with that, maybe what we'll do is we'll try and cover them today. Before we actually go to those IPOs, just want to set up today's space. And before I actually set up, just want to highlight a couple of housekeeping things. If you haven't joined the YouTube channel, the link is in the pinned comments. Definitely go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll put these spaces there. And then second, we are not SEBI registered research analyst. ये जो शो है डू नॉट टेक इट एज अ क्वालिफाइड ओपिनियन डेफिनेटली आप अपनी रिसर्च खुद से करें एंड उसके बेसिस पे ही अप्लाई करें डू नॉट just apply basis what we are saying. This is in no way a recommendation. This is just us friends chatting about what we are planning to do with our own IPO strategy. Having said that, today should be very, very interesting. काफी सारे interesting IPOs and we'll try and like wrap up some non-interesting ones for the lack of a better word early ताकि हम फिर interesting ones की तरफ बात कर पाएं. So what we'll do is we'll cover 2 SMEs and 5 Mainboards. We'll probably start with Kaytex, then move to Laxmi Finance, then do BD Industries, which covers the 2 SMEs and one smallish Mainboard raise. Then we'll do Lotus. Then we'll move forward to NSDL. Then we'll talk about CPPlus and then probably end with M&B. And probably end is where most of the juice is. So definitely stick around till the end. And तक definitely रुके उस हिसाब से हम like you'll definitely benefit is what I'll say. With that maybe Kaytex के साथ शुरुआत करेंगे जैसे मैंने बोला but उससे पहले and while I open this just want to again highlight that if you haven't joined the YouTube channel, go ahead and join that. The link is in the pinned comments. आप वहां से जाके join कर सकते हो channel को. With that, let me just quickly set up Kaytex. I will just cover a basic about the company and not really the details of the race, which Sachin can talk about when he's covering the company. Setting up Kaytex, it was incorporated in 1996 and is a fast fashion manufacturer that combines technology, creative design, and craftsmanship to deliver high quality textiles. The company sells its products under the brand name Russia, Kaytex, and Darbare Khas. So textile की company है और manufacture करती है कि नहीं maybe we'll find out, but yeah, definitely sells its brand clothes, suits, etc. under these brands. So with that, over to you, Sachin, to talk about Kaytex.
Am I audible?
Yep, just slightly louder if you can be, but yeah, you are audible.
Better now?
Yep.
All right. So, Kaytex Fabrics is based out of Punjab, 30-year-old business started by two brothers, and now the second generation has joined in. They specialize in fabric manufacturing and processing, focusing on digital printing, jacquard, dobby fabrics, alongside ready-to-stitch garments and accessories like shawls and stoles. So they operate across three key segments. One is brand enabler, 33% of the revenues, where they supply fabrics to apparel brands like Reliance, Aditya Birla, etc. The other is 50% of revenue for own brands, which you just mentioned, for women's ethnic wear, and they supply particularly to North India. The next is non-branded segment, around 15% of the revenues, in which they supply unbranded fabrics to and ready-to-stitch garments to wholesalers and retailers. They also have digital printing, which is current capacity at 92 lakh meters per annum, and they have already doubled it from FY24 by internal accruals. That forms part of 54% of the revenue, which is a growing segment for them due to its eco-friendliness and low minimum order quantities. So they, for the total capacity, they have already increased it to 158 lakh meters per annum, and the average utilization is 70%. Around 400 clients and distributors network they have across India. So they and in 2024 they have also entered the export market. So around 6.5 crore did in export market in 2024, which they plan to increase by 2 or maybe 3 times going ahead, targeting the GCC and UK markets. They have their specialized designer team, 36 people employed, so that helps in creating quality products. A slight positive is also that the dependence on top 10 distributors is also decreasing gradually. Coming to financials, in FY23 they did 99 CR of revenue, 13% EBITDA, 6% PAT. FY24 125 CR revenue, 18% EBITDA, 9% PAT. This is largely due to the product mix change. And similar in FY25, around 152 CR, 20% EBITDA and 11% PAT. This was due to the focus more on digital printing. For FY26, they have projected around 240 CR2 and in top line and 26 CR in PAT. Some risk that is there is that the inventory they have indicated they are some doing maybe overstocking, so the number of days has increased. The digital printing segment is niche segment, but it's competitive as well. But there are unlisted players as well, and large textile firms are also entering. They haven't scaled online yet, so main focus is on offline channels only. And concentration around North India is a risk which they are trying to diversify, but not immediately. IPO funds are for setting up a new office in Amritsar and expanding their digital printing capacity. They also plan to buy one more fabric processing unit, and the rest is for working capital. Coming to the pricing, it's around 15 times trailing and near 10 to 11 times, which is what the growth they project. Somehow they mentioned their peers as Nilkamal Furniture. I don't know why, because that is. I'm sorry, not Nilkamal. They mentioned that their peers are not particularly the ones that do in digital printing. So they are trading near 20 times currently. For the digital printing one, they mentioned that there are some listed players like Shriji Prints, etc. And they are going ahead. Their aspiration is to become something like a Manyavar Vedant fashion, but that is a larger picture, not something that is happening immediate. Lead manager is Socrates MS, which brought identical brains before, which hasn't done well after the listing. Anchor had some decent names: Invicta Continuum, Pine Oak, and some Oxono, Dawn Fund, etc. So finally, their own brands gaining visibility and growing is a plus exports as well. But the 12 CR offer for sale doesn't enlighten much. So it could have been reinvested for growth. So given the forward valuations, if I have funds idle after the main boards, I would apply.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Sachin, for the quick review. And I understand that we already covered everything. Like I said, what you will be doing, वो भी बता दीजिएगा. But yeah, I think personally, I would be avoiding simply because textile plus so many main boards to choose from that it's a luxurious week where we can be spoiled for choices. So when that is the case, I would personally be just avoiding the textile SME race. Although 11, 12 PE forward. I don't know, like maybe something's on the table, but yeah, not looking at it. With that, maybe let me move forward and talk about the second company, Laxmi Finance. Setting it up, incorporated in 1996, company is a NBFC offering MSME loans, vehicle loans, construction loans, and other lending products, supporting small businesses and entrepreneurs with over 80% of its books qualifying as priority sector lending. The company has a AUM of 1250 crores approximately. IPO की बात करूं तो लगभग 250 crores का IPO है, जिसमें से 165 crores फ्रेश है एंड 85 crores का OFS है. मार्केट कैप जिस पे कंपनी आ रही है वो 825 crores पे आ रही है. And so they are diluting like close to 30% of the share of the company in this round, in this IPO. FY25 के financials की बात करो तो their revenue is 246 crores, 250 crores revenue है, and PAT is 36 crores, 36 crores का PAT है. So they are coming at like 25 PE trailing. LM की बात करूं तो LM is Prabhudas Leeladhar Capital Markets. So with that, over to you, Tanmay, to talk about Laxmi Finance.
Is my voice audible?
Yep.
So Laxmi India Finance is a Jaipur-based acute A-rated NBFC which provides MSME loans, vehicle loans, construction loans and vehicle financing. So इनका बिजनेस क्या है बेसिकली, जो आपके छोटे बिजनेसेस होते हैं ना, कोई मिठाई वाला हो गया, कोई छोटा कंस्ट्रक्शन का कंपनी हो गया, कोई ये वेंडर, कोई इसका किराना शॉप, तो इन सारे लोगों को एंड व्हीकल फाइनेंसिंग जो सेकंड हैंड है, तो ये सारा जो आपका टियर 2 काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रक्चर है ना, इसको ये फाइनेंस करते हैं. ओके, सो इनका एवरेज टिकट इज लाइक 6 lakhs फॉर the MSME loans and approx 2.5 lakhs for the vehicle financing वगैरह वो सब. So these guys, I'll just read out its key parameters. 1300 crore type का asset under management है. Okay, the company has around 158 branches. So these branches, I guess 80% of the branches are in Rajasthan. They have some branches in Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat, and they have recently started one branch in Uttar Pradesh. And if you just check out inka gross NPA and NPA, which is like 1.07 percentage, and NNPA is quite 0.48 percentage, and their CRAR is also like 20.8%. So if you just look at this company, you will find कि यार normal से NBFC, but what I like कि इनका जो AUM CAGR that is like 36% types, and ऐसा नहीं है कि it looks like a normal what you can say retail financing or MSME, like a normal business, and it is a normal business, but the book looks well maintained while looking at the growth. I know the NPAs are rising from last 3 years. For GNPA 2 साल पहले I guess कुछ 0.50 था, now it is like 1.07, yes, but that is still lower than the peers. ये sector के जो peers है, they have went like 3%, 4%. The best of best guys are like at 2.5%. So there the asset quality is better than the peers. If you look at the net interest margin, which is close to 9.73 percentage, which is actually quite healthy than the peers. Peers are somewhere around 7 to 8%. Cost of borrowing was close to 11.5%. Okay, so which is also lower than peers. So the company is raising 254 crores, 165.2 crores towards fresh issue, and 89 crores is of OFS. Frankly speaking, I did not understood why the OFS is quite large. 20-40 so that I couldn't have meant, but thoda 89 crores OFS I felt is on a higher side. 826 crore का M cap है. Okay, so if you just look at so इसमें P नहीं work करेगा, so I'll just stop on the NAV and price to book. तो FY25 में NAV was 61.57. तो आप उसको देखोगे आपको आएगा like 2.4 times price to book, but it looks expensive because peers are trading at roughly 1.8x at average level. But क्या है, जब नया 144 crores out of like if I just remove the GCP, 144 crores is towards the augmentation of fresh capital. तो when I take in that and when I take the normal growth जो पहले होती आ रही है उसका 3 years का एवरेज में एड अप किया तो इनका जो NAV है वो सीधा 90 रुपीज चला जाता है. So on that, the company is valued at roughly 1.7 times type of a book value, which is at par with the peers. But as the company has better growth, lower GNPAs, better NEEM, better credit rating, and I just saw that they are working with like very good lenders. Like सारे top notch lenders, around 45 lenders, 46 kind of lenders. And the presence is increasing. So I felt कि ठीक है, so just valued it on like roughly 2 times book value. तो but still I felt कि pricing wasn't on very lower side, थोड़ा higher side पे pricing था. They have left some scope on the table for small listing gains, but didn't found it very much. Okay, so बहुत ज्यादा डेप्थ में नहीं जाऊंगा. डिसेंट बिजनेस द फॉर बट यस पैरामीटर्स एंड जो आपका की फाइनेंशियल्स है सारा, इंटरेस्ट कवरेज हो गया, पीसीआर प्रोविजन कवरेज रेशो हो गया, ऑल दैट आर वेरी वेरी हेल्दी. एंड जितना आरबीआई ने प्रिस्क्राइब किया है मेजोरिटी पैरामीटर्स, आई वुड से ऑल द पैरामीटर्स फिट्स मच अबव द आरबीआई नॉर्म्स. And new capital should let the company increase the business by at least 3 times. And I expect one more credit rating upgrade also. A minus पे है with a positive outlook from Acute. One more credit rating upgrade will take this to what we can say good tier, top tier NBFC, even being a just 1300 crore kind of a book. तो decent है. The LM is Prabhudas Leather. Last I guess Mainboard, if I'm not wrong, Gala Precision था, which did well. So I felt कि the people who have access funds can go and try your luck. यार छोटा IPO मिलने तो नहीं वाला, but मुझे खराब नहीं लगा. The market थोड़ा सा negativity in this IPO during they are saying that there's one small company which has been acquired by Laxmi Finance but which hasn't been mentioned in the RHP. I have no idea regarding this, and I'm yet to actually we had mailed also, but there is no clarification. I don't know this is real or just things done to defame the company. I have no idea. But मुझे तो ठीक लगा, the people who are having excess funds can try for some allocation. मुझे लगता है इसमें 10-15% gains बन सकते हैं. And if the markets आर बैड, नहीं बनेंगे. सो मुझे बुरी नहीं लगी कंपनी, डिसेंट सा बिजनेस है, बट नॉट अ बिजनेस टू वेयर आई विल बी वेरी वेरी आई टेक लॉट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट. तो डिसेंट बिजनेस है, स्मॉल गेन्स के लिए लगाया जा सकता है, बट आई विल बी अप्लाइंग सम रिटेल लॉट्स जस्ट प्योरली फॉर लाइक 10-15% लिस्टिंग है, तो उसके बाद आई विल जस्ट लीव द काउंटर.
Got it. Thanks, Tanmay. Although listing gains also look slightly difficult because of the market negativity around this issue, right? So yeah, but plus the sector in itself is not in range, right? Microfinance and this NBFC. Somehow they never tend to list well. And again, we are spoiled for choices, right? So with that, maybe I will move forward and move to the third company. Quickly wrap up BD Industries as well, जो कि एक बड़ा raise है on the SME side. So set up in 1984, the company specializes in the manufacturing of rotationary molded plastic products like plastic fuel tanks for off-road vehicles, urea tanks, fenders, hydraulic tanks, etc. It has its manufacturing facilities in Pune, Devas, and Hoshiarpur, and has a fourth coming up in Zahirabad, Telangana. So with that, over to you, Tanmay, over to you, Sachin, to quickly talk about BD Industries.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
All right. So BD Industries is based out of Pune. They earlier did trading activities but now have transitioned to manufacturing solid plastic components primarily for the automotive sector. So they manufacture plastic fuel tanks which are used in vehicles, tractors, agricultural, some other automotive products like fenders, transmission covers, barricades, cabin roofs. Also they do pallets which are used in pharma and e-commerce. So around 1000 plus clients, 520 plus SKUs, and around 600 employees. Attrition rate is low, not much significant. So currently they have 3 manufacturing plants, one in Pune, one in Devas, and one in Hoshiarpur. But the combined utilization is nearly 53% only, which they mentioned that it's a strategic move to save on logistics and freight costs as they locate their facilities near key OEM partners like Escorts, Mahindra and Mahindra, John Deere, etc. The Telangana facility is still in progress, though completion timeline is unknown for now. For coming to the financials, they did the revenues were flat in FY23 and FY24, but the PAT in FY24 rose due to the raw material pricing, which now has normalized. In FY25, the big jump is only due to the consolidation of the subsidiary, which brought the EBITDA nearly 90% and the PAT around 10% from the earlier 5% PAT. I didn't find any interview or interaction to find out about why the margins have gone up and will they sustain or not, and what are the future business prospects. Coming to the risk, the higher inventory and the underutilized capacity is a risk. Though they have mentioned good clientele and good OEMs, none of them have long-term contracts with BD Industries. So that is one thing to note. For the IP proceeds, they are paying around 18 CR of loan, both for the company and for the subsidiary, with around 9% of interest, so saving around 1.5 CR of interest burden. Another 5.4 CR is for machinery to enhance their existing capacity, and the rest 14 CR is for working capital. Coming to the pricing, it's at 19 times trailing and around 13 times basis what they project in working capital plus the reduced interest burden. Now for this, I don't know why they have mentioned Nilkamal Furniture as a peer, because the other peers mentioned is Time Techno, which is a better peer and a larger one as well, which trades near 25-30 times. In SME, we have had a Premium Plast, which is at the lower end of the products that is manufactured for the automotive segment, but it trades near 10 times. The recent Cello app is also something relatable. One larger peer is Lomax Auto, which does some exposure in plastic fuel tanks, but then the comparison comes at two extreme ends. The lead manager is RMN Financial Year, which has brought in some decent issues in FY23 and FY24. The anchor name was decent to good. Negen is there, and some wire investment opportunities fund is also there. Aban's Finance is taking their first entry as an anchor probably. So that was one thing to note. So for FY25, as I said, the growth is only due to the consolidation, and on standalone it has actually degrown, but they're trying to do better this year. So if asking price would have been lower, could have thought of it, but for now skipping and revisiting later as and when the clarity is available. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Sachin. Thank you for that as well. And again, like SMEs we were trying to cover simply because size bade the, so we wanted to do some justice. But with that, we'll kind of now move on and talk about four companies that we are left with. We'll start with Lotus, then we will move to NSDL, then we'll move to CPPlus, and then finally we'll finish with M&B. That is the order which is left. अभी start करने से पहले I understand कि आज comments नहीं चल रहे हैं. So if you have any questions that you want to ask or have anything that you want to put in, ये जो मैंने स्पेस यूट्यूब चैनल पिन कर रखा है उस पे क्लिक करके आप उसके कमेंट्स में डाल दीजिएगा. उसमें कमेंट्स चल रहे हैं. Put it there. I will kind of read from there. And second, while you are at it, if you haven't joined the YouTube channel, definitely go ahead and subscribe if you're listening to us for the first time. Now moving forward and setting up Lotus Developers, the Lotus Developers. Incorporated in 2015, the company is a developer of residential and commercial properties located in Mumbai, Maharashtra, specializing in redevelopment projects with ultra luxury and luxury segments of the western suburb. So रियल एस्टेट का प्लेयर है और लग्जरी एंड अल्ट्रा लग्जरी डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाता है. आईपीओ की बात करूं तो लगभग 800 सीआर का आईपीओ है, ऑल ऑफ विच इज अ फ्रेश इशू. कंपनी जो मार्केट कैप पे आ रही है दैट इज 7,300 करोड़. सो लगभग 800 to 900 मिलियन टाइप की मार्केट कैप पे कंपनी आ रही है. FY25 के फाइनेंशियल्स की बात करूं तो दे हैड अ रेवेन्यू ऑफ 569 करोड़, 570 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू था, एंड अ बॉटम लाइन पैट ऑफ 230 करोड़. So very healthy PAT margins, 40% PAT margins for a real estate business, development business is something which is probably unheard for. We'll see, we'll try and figure out why that is and like do we think that is sustainable. LM की बात करें तो LM है Monarch Capital and Motilal Oswal. So with that, let me just try and deconstruct Lotus a bit. Having said that, it's a slightly tricky company. I don't understand it fully in terms of like, because this company just seems too good to be true. So if you don't listen to anything else, probably I would say that I would be avoiding this company simply because it seems that it has came at the top of this real estate boom where it is everything is doing well. So my margin of safety is rather less and everything can fall down from here. But having said that, let me just try and set up the company and talk about it a lot more systematically. So the company was started as AKP Ventures. AKP क्यों? AKP stands for Anand Kamal Narayan Pandit, who is the promoter of the company and the CMD of the company, and then was changed to Lotus Developers, which I'm assuming goes with his father's name, Kamal Narayan. So started as AKP, and as I said, the company does residential and commercial premises in Mumbai and has a focus on redevelopment projects. Like 93% of all its revenue comes from redevelopment. There's this one greenfield project which it does. So just to highlight the difference, bata deta हूं एक बार. So redevelopment is basically where you are taking in, let's say, a contract or a society, and then essentially if it is, let's say, four floors, bringing it down and then redeveloping it, and then 4 floors में जो लोग रह रहे थे उन्हीं को दे दिया, and then you have, let's say, you have built a 10-floor story building, then you are selling out the 5th to 10th floor, something like that. So that's the model on which they operate. It tends to be a lot more asset light simply because आप जमीन ले नहीं रहे हो. So if you are buying the land, that's when it is costly, right? But if you are not buying the land, then those costs don't tend to hit your books, which is why it is saying that it is a asset light model. It operates under an asset light model and focus on redevelopment projects mostly in the ultra luxury and the luxury segment. So redevelopment projects के players पहले भी आए हैं मार्केट में जो लिस्ट हुए हैं, but they have not really been in the ultra luxury and the luxury segment. I remember Surya Estate Developers was one IPO which never really got fancy, listed in discount, and then something happened in between because of which it went crazy up and then came back back to below IPO price. But yeah, so the segment has essentially been around but has never worked so much fancy. I majorly feel that's because it's a very niche market, right? It's a Mumbai-based thing because redevelopment is probably big in Mumbai and not really big in other parts of the area, because it will be big wherever you have very tight spaces, right? Where availability of new land is not possible, which is probably, then you think about it, like Bombay, etc. So having said that, let me just go back in terms of like company ने कितना projects बनाया हुआ है. So the promoter himself is a very seasoned person. As I said, Anand Kamal Narayan Pandit. He has worked with Bank of Maharashtra, with Hudco, Housing and Urban Development Corporation Syndicate Bank and has like 24 years of experience. So that is where, most of his experience is coming from. The company in itself has sold 4 projects till now, which has like 4 lakh square feet of saleable area and 9 lakh square feet of developed area, which in itself doesn't look a lot when you think about it, right? Because आप ऐसा मान के चलो कि लगभग 3,000 स्क्वायर फीट का एक घर होगा, एक फ्लैट होगा फॉर द लैक ऑफ अ बेटर वर्ड, एंड अगर 10 लाख कंपनी बोल रही है उनने बनाया है तो दैट्स लाइक 300 homes in all its experience, right? Because the promoter before this entity has done like some 33 lakh square feet development under 12 projects under different companies in his past 24 years. But this is a new sort of a thing which has started in 2015 and has picked up pace over time. So जैसा मैंने बताया 4 प्रोजेक्ट किए हैं उनने, आउट ऑफ विच डेवलपेबल एरिया हैज बीन 9 लाख. कंपनी के अभी 5 ऑनगोइंग प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं जिसमें अगेन डेवलपेबल एरिया इज 8 लाख. और कंपनी बोल रही है कि वो 11 नए प्रोजेक्ट लाएगी जिसका डेवलपेबल एरिया होगा 50 लाख. तो कंपनी 9 लाख किया है, 8 लाख करेगी, 8 लाख कर रही है और 50 लाख स्क्वायर फीट का और डेवलपेबल एरिया पे 2030 तक काम करेगी कंपनी, इज व्हाट द कंपनी सेइंग. सो बिग प्लान्स एज ऑफ नाउ अहेड. अब कंपनी की यूएसपी क्या है? तो अकॉर्डिंग टू द प्रमोटर, एंड अगेन like slightly difficult for me to believe that the company doesn't do any sales. कंपनी का सेल्स पे कोई एक्सपेंस नहीं है. सेल्स इज अ मेजर P&L आइटम इन ऑलमोस्ट ऑल real estate players because you have to keep sales team, you have to do marketing, you have to do launch events, you have to keep in channel partners in between. वो channel partners पे तुम्हें उनको कमीशन देना पड़ती है, वो प्रोजेक्ट बेचते हैं. इट्स अ वेरी 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 ट्रिकी वैल्यू सिस्टम विच एग्जिस्ट. ये वाले प्रमोटर का कहना है कि हम कुछ नहीं करते हैं क्योंकि हम इतने कम घर बेचते हैं. These are super luxury homes that we sell, that our clients kind of come to us. 50% of all our clients are through referrals. तो इसलिए हमें वो पैसा बच जाता है. सेकंड, द कंपनी इज अ नेट डेप्ट फ्री कंपनी. कंपनी के पास कुछ तो 400 करोड़ की डेप्ट थी जिसमें उनने 500 करोड़ की डेप्ट थी जिसमें उन्होंने 400 करोड़ का प्री आईपीओ किया था दिसंबर में, जिससे वो नेट डेप्ट फ्री हो गए. एंड अभी कंपनी में कुछ 300 करोड़ की एफडी है जिसके अगेंस्ट वो थोड़ा बहुत लोन लेके वर्किंग कैपिटल मैनेज करते हैं. So that's because of it they also save on interest payment according to the promoter, because of it they also save on interest payment, which is another second good thing with respect to the company. The third thing good thing with respect to the company which promoter said was that the company doesn't have any RERA litigations in its history. There has been no complaints of RERA, which again I find it slightly difficult to believe because it just seems too good to be true. Like how do you have a society? How are you builder without having to go through those RERA related complaints? But again, that's probably because it's a very very niche segment. इनने जैसा मैंने बताया अभी तक अंडर दिस कंपनी probably total develop ही some 300 units किए हैं. So when you develop some 300 units and all of these are going to your ultra luxury segments and you're kind of catering to them, so it just makes more sense to be able to manage that way. कंपनी के जो मैंने बताया चार प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, उनमें से 2 कमर्शियल हैं और 2 रियल एस्टेट प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं. और कंपनी, पहले मैं बात करता हूँ कि कंपनी फंड्स क्यों रेज कर रही है. सो ऑल ऑफ विच इज अ फ्रेश इशू. 792 करोड़ कंपनी रेज कर रही है जिसमें से 550 करोड़ इज फॉर पुटिंग इन 3 न्यू प्रोजेक्ट्स. उनका वर्किंग कैपिटल मैनेज करेंगे एंड रिमेनिंग फॉर जीसीपी. जो 3 अभी अपकमिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं जो चल रहे हैं उनके बारे में पहले मैं बात करता हूँ. अब कंपनी के हाई लेवल पे एक बार फाइनेंशियल समझ लेते हैं. So FY23 में कंपनी did 166 crores of top line, FY24 में 461 crores और FY25 में 550 crores. So the top line has been on a tangential jump, 160 crores से 540 crores, 3 साल में 3x हो गया. And EBITDA margins are insane, like 12% EBITDA था FY23 में, which went up to 34% in FY24 and is right now at 52%. So it's a 52% EBITDA margin business. A lot of people might say that some of the other players, like let's say Oberoi Realty also has like 58% EBITDA margin when you think about it, but that's also because Oberoi का ना बहुत ज्यादा रेंटल इनकम आता है, तो उनका EBITDA मार्जिन क्यों एन्यूटी है, राइट? तो एन्यूटी में खर्चा कितना ही कर लोगे, बट इनका ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. इनका रेंटल इनकम नहीं है, फिर भी इनका EBITDA margin is 52%, which just seems really high, at least to me, to be able to talk about. But yeah, having said that, they have a PAT of 227 crores, और जैसे मैंने बताया 7,000 crores पे आ रही है, so it's coming at like 32p trailing. इनने जो इनका, although everywhere that you listen to it says that luxury and ultra luxury residential segment में ये काम करते हैं, most of their amount is coming from commercial segment. Like FY25 में भी 80% of their revenue is coming from commercial segment. FY24 में 68 was from commercial. So it seems that I don't know how they define luxury, ultra luxury, and commercial. I'm assuming it's the same building which they built, and नीचे फिर commercial होता है and ऊपर इसका residential होता है. But yeah, and as I said, पिछले 3 साल में 4 ही projects हैं जिनसे most of the revenue has came from Signature, Anaya, Ayana, and Arc1. Like FY25 में 340 crores of all 550 crores has came from Signature project. So it just seems like a very small operations ran really, really well by one person. So that's, if I had to define a company, that would be the company. It's a key man who's running the company, is able to secure very good deals simply because of his previous relationships, etc. And then is able to execute. The company is able to execute without having to do marketing, without having to put in, have sales, etc. And people are just referrals coming in. But when it increases, that's when you want to figure out that what would the execution look like. Would it be similar to what it has been, or do you think that the margins will fall? My guess is towards the later, but it's something which everyone has to be judged for themselves. So, जैसा मैंने बताया, in terms of upcoming projects, they have like 50 lakh square feet worth of projects coming up. They have done 4 projects till now, 5 ongoing है और 11 आ रहे हैं. So सिर्फ 9 लाख इनने किया है, 7 लाख और कर रहे हैं और 50 लाख और projects आएंगे. In terms of the units sold, they have sold 64 units in all of FY25. So 64 ही unit बेची है इनने, because they are just really, really expensive per se. इसका ये भी बात है कि इनका जो एवरेज रियलाइजेशन है दैट इज लाइक 66,000 रुपीज पर स्क्वायर फीट. यानी मतलब आप एक 3,000 स्क्वायर फीट का घर पकड़ोगे तो दैट वुड कम टू लाइक लेट्स से 17-18 CR if I'm not wrong, but it's an expensive sort of a setup, even higher than Oberoi with like 41,000 per square foot. But that's also because these people tend to do their business in Versova, Juhu, Andheri, who are just expensive regions. I don't understand Bombay. I don't understand Mumbai completely. So like bear with me while I kind of do that. इनके मार्जिन जैसे मैंने बताया सुपीरियर है कंपेयर टू पीएस, एंड दैट इज मेजरली बिकॉज ऑफ नॉट हैविंग डेप्ट. प्री आईपीओ प्लेसमेंट कर लिया था इनने, और उसके अलावा नॉट हैविंग अ सेल्स टीम. प्री आईपीओ प्लेसमेंट की बात करूं, सो विच इज बिग, दे हैव अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल ऑन देयर बुक्स फ्रॉम बॉलीवुड. Goes from like let's say Amitabh Bachchan to Hrithik Roshan to Ekta Kapoor to a lot of other names as well, which you can essentially look at. And then you have a few names from the investment fraternity as well, like Ashish Kacholia, and then Deven Choksi and a few other names as well in pre-IPO placement, जो कि इनने दिसंबर में किया था, which was a 400 CR raise. Coincidentally इसी प्राइस पे किया था, 150 रुपए शेयर प्राइस पे किया था. आईपीओ में भी 150 रुपए पे ही शेयर लाए हैं. द प्राइस हैज इंक्रीज विच इज प्रोबेबली गुड. एंड प्रमोटर का कहना था कि ही वांटेड टू ट्रीट हिज रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स एज सेलिब्रिटीज एज वेल, व्हिच वाज जस्ट गुड टू लिसन टू. अब एक बार कंपनी में फाइनेंशियल्स की बात कर लेता हूं, मैं पीएस की बात कर लेता हूं, बिकॉज इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट आई फील टू बी एबल टू असर्टेन अ पीयर टू दिस बिजनेस, बिकॉज लाइक अगर आप मल्टीपल की बात करोगे, सो इवन इफ आई लाइक take a good case 40% jump and a EBITDA of 380 crores in FY26, it's still coming at like 19x EV EBITDA, which I feel is on the higher end. Oberoi is like at 21, but Lodha is at like 28, but both of them are like giants of their own. Lodha has been growing at 40% year over year with like a 30,000 crore market cap. So it's like, I feel those are difficult. Those are not the true peers per se. This doesn't enjoy that segment, and those are well run machineries. This is a 1% show. So I don't know how you compare that to this. But if you look with against a Oberoi or Lodha, you will see space left. But if you look, let's say, against a Keystone Realtors, which is at 15 EV EBITDA, or against Arcade, which is at 18 EV EBITDA, or a Suraj Estate, who would probably be, according to me, the closest peer, because Suraj Estate works in redevelopment. It's at 9 EV EBITDA. So this guy is coming in at 18. And this guy is coming in when their margins are at the peak. I don't see margins improving from here, right? So there's only one way to go from here. So somehow I don't get that comfort, but yeah, that is how it is priced in terms of like compared to its peers. It is just very hot in terms of how it is being done. So that is why I see some listing gain opportunity in there, but I'm not super bullish on the company in the long term. I'll tell you why. Three, four risk which I feel. One is the key man risk. There's one key man who's running the company who understands everything. So it's a big key man risk which you need to factor in when you are factoring in valuations, which I don't see it happening right now. Second is the EBITDA margins. I feel EBITDA margins are towards the higher end, and there's only one way to go from here. Maybe they will maintain it, or maybe it will fall. But it's just risky to be able to enter at a company with, let's say, a 52% EBITDA margin without having annuity income. कोई किराया नहीं है, खर्चे हैं, फिर भी 52% EBITDA margin, just too good to be true per se. Third thing, I don't really think that market values the redevelopment as a segment a lot, because this redevelopment, like it's a very niche segment. End of the day, like it can only be Mumbai, MMR region में ही काम हो सकता है. वहां पे भी कुछ ही players हैं, वहां पे भी तुम्हें government regulations देखनी है, etc. Suraj Estate is majorly in redevelopment. It has struggled for the longest period of time. So having said, like, because of which I also feel that this will also probably not get that fancy, but I can be wrong. Fourth, like from what I could see, the anchor book didn't have a lot of interest per se. While the pre-IPO had great names, none of them repeated themselves in the anchor book. And usually what I have seen is ये names ना repeat होते हैं. जो pre-IPO करता है वो फिर anchor में भी आता है. But what has changed? Something has changed, right? The biggest example of this, think of it this way: the biggest person, 20% of anchor book is Society General ODI. ODI by definition we know is some HNIs who are putting in money through Society General. So that's your biggest anchor book allocation. I don't remember any time that your biggest allocation in an anchor book was a ODI fund. So that just shows that utni demand nahi hai which was being thought of it. Having said that, I will come to the last thing. Ki GMP is brilliant. I think the GMP was somewhere around 45 rupees, but has went up to like even 60 rupees and has came down to 30 rupees. So it's at like somewhere between 20 to 40% with a 30% median. Do I think it will give some gains? Probably yes. Do I think that it will do well in the long term? Probably no. I think it will continue to consolidate. Will I apply? Most probably no, or I will put retail applications in this just to see what is happening. That is what my honest review was of Lotus. I know I have spoken a lot, probably more than what I had promised the 10 minutes, but yeah, over to you, Sachin, Tanmay, Rohit, to speak about anything which I have missed.
The liaising part, that they need to source from various sources, the authorities and the government, that doesn't work out of Mumbai. So they're probably not going out of Mumbai, which is a risk as well.
Yeah. They are saying they don't want to go out of Mumbai, leave alone Mumbai. They're saying they don't even want to go out of West Bombay, Mumbai, which is like don't even want to go to MMR, because MMR में फिर भी जगह है, right? They are saying they will only do redevelopment because that is cash flow positive. Like that is very asset heavy, asset light. They don't want to do asset heavy work per se.
And
But yeah,
that
that is a risk.
yes,
One
and
job.
that CEO, Mr. Sanjay Jain, is a recently appointed one. I don't know why they appointed just a year back ago. They changed the CEO, Mr. Sanjay Jain.
Yeah.
One more thing I would like to add, especially on the dates and the pricing part. So dates इसके I guess दो बार change हुई थी, वो same time में आ रहा था, and I just read it from somewhere that the pricing is done exactly at the pre-IPO because the promoters wanted to bring the parity between pre-IPO investors and retail investors. No, यार मतलब this is such a big joke. Earlier, the anchor pitches were being conducted at 7,800 valuation. Now it is coming at 7,300. मतलब क्या है यार? मतलब पहले भर नहीं रहा था, सस्ता करके भरना पड़ा. This is the real meaning, and I feel ऐसे जोक नहीं करने चाहिए in the public. And the anchor book was complete, very bad anchor book. मेरे को नहीं समझ यार लोग decent भी क्यों बोल रहे हैं. दिख रहा है no demand. Even very very general lower level funds have also not put in any kind of allocation in the anchor book. 240 करोड़ का एंकर बुक समोसे की तरह बिकना चाहिए. Don't know कि क्या दिक्कत है. And it's been almost 600 IPOs I have analyzed. It's the first time even in an SMA I haven't seen an ODI fund taking 19% allocation. Even that in a main board of like 800 crore. तो डोंट नो. एंड एक्चुअली आई हैव लिटरली फेल्ड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ये कंपनी में दिक्कत क्या है. सीम्स कि देयर इज समथिंग आउट ऑफ मार्केट और एनीथिंग आई एम मिसिंग आउट ऑफ रीडिंग, बट आई एम नॉट वेरी कंफर्टेबल फ्रॉम डे वन इन दिस इशू.
Perfect. Rohit, you have anything to add, or you will go with my review?
Nothing to add, man.
Perfect. So with that, we'll move forward and talk about the fifth company, NSDL. Setting up NSDL incorporated in 2012, and I know a lot of people would have been waiting for NSDL. So if you are waiting for NSDL, if someone else is waiting, now is your time to forward it to others. Make sure that we hit 1,000 concurrent users, please. We are at 960 right now, and while we are at 960, if you haven't joined the YouTube channel, the link is in the pinned comment. I will also go and look at your comments now. But yeah, in setting up in NSDL, incorporated in 2012, the company is a SEBI registered market infrastructure institution. It acts as a security depository in India and maintains electronic records of allotment and ownership transfer of securities. Setting up the IPO, it's a 4,000 crore IPO, 4,000 crore ka IPO, at a market cap of 16,000 crores. So 25% company dilute कर रही है NSDL, and all of it is a OFS. There's no growth capital which is going into the company. The promoters, which are different banks, etc., are taking a exit. एंड 525 के फाइनेंशियल्स की बात करूं तो कंपनी का रेवेन्यू जो है वो है 1,500 करोड़ टाइप का टॉप लाइन है, एंड 340 करोड़ का बॉटम लाइन है, 343 करोड़ टू बी स्पेसिफिक. सो दे आर कमिंग एट लाइक 42-43 PE trailing, which seems just too high, but then it is the acceptable norm because it's a monopoly, duopoly per se. NSDL और CDSL दो ही है, like LMs की बात करूं तो ICICI, Axis, HSBC, IDBI, Motilal and SBI caps are the LM. So with that, maybe over to you, Tanmay, to talk about NSDL.
So National Securities Depository Limited, NSDL, is India's largest depository in terms of the active instruments and the market share and the volume of assets in the custody. What this means is कि आपका कस्टडियन में जितना एसेट्स है, मतलब जितना स्टॉक है, जो भी है, उसका जो वैल्यू है उसके हिसाब से दे आर द हाईएस्ट. इन टर्म्स ऑफ मार्केट शेयर दे आर हाईएस्ट, एंड इन टर्म्स ऑफ active securities they are the highest. In FY25 end, the company had 65,391 depository participants, and meanwhile CDSL had 19,000. And also the company has 80,000 plus issuers, and CDSL has close to 63,000. ठीक है. So दोनों में roughly 20% का difference है. NSDL has three core functions. First is maintaining allotment and transfers. Second, facilitation and asset servicing, and giving the records analytics of those. And third, transaction services and other value-added services. So now just understand a very basic difference between CDSL and NSDL. CDSL is driven by the retail investors, and NSDL is from institutions and the HNI clients. If I just talk on the demat accounts, कि CDSL पे है 13.5 crore, NSDL has I guess 4 crore types. You can understand one thing out of this कि CDSL का growth is driven by the more market participation of the retailers. मतलब retailer जितना transaction करेगा CDSL को उतना फायदा, and NSDL is more into institutional, which is kind of a sticky revenue but not a very high growth revenue. Okay. Now you can I'll come on the depository participants. The company has 294 depository participants, okay, which combinedly handle 4 crore plus demats. If I just go in the revenue breakdown, The depository business has 43.6%, the banking business has 50.7%, and the database management has 5.75% of the revenue share. Now, one thing here is, very, very important to understand. I just said the second point, banking is 50.57%. आपने एक सुना होगा NSDL Payments Bank, which is India's third largest payment banks after Airtel and Fino Payments. So this is a banking business जो 50% revenue देता है, which is a उसका आपको पैड बताता हूं मैं, and the revenue I'll tell you. The revenue of the NSDL Payments Bank is 722 crores. Okay, almost 50% हो गया. And PAT is 2 crores. You heard it right, just 2 crores. And if I just remove this, तो इनका जो रेवेन्यू बनता है ना स्टैंड अलोन लेवल पे एक्सेप्ट पेमेंट बैंक, उसका रेवेन्यू है 810 करोड़ और पैट है 340 करोड़. So frankly, NSDL is this 830 and 340 PAT and not the 1500 shown to us actually. So a business of payments bank is just zero and has no value in it because this company is not a what we can say touch point kind of it's a tech enabled NSDL which doesn't have even the core functions which your Airtel and Fino provide. So Fino is more and Airtel is more into doorstep banking services. This just have two branches. Those guys have 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 kind of a branches. तो आपको एक चीज समझना पड़ेगा कि आप जब बोल रहे हो 1500 करोड़ रेवेन्यू, तो टेक्निकली वो 800 ही है, बाकी वो 700 तो टाइम पास रेवेन्यू है, क्योंकि 2 करोड़ पैड इट्स लाइक 2% बिजनेस. ये सारा हो गया. एंड इफ यू जस्ट कम ऑन द रिकरिंग रेवेन्यू, तो रिकरिंग रेवेन्यू जो एनएसडीएल का है, विच इज स्टिकी रेवेन्यू, जो आते ही रहेगा, दैट इज 20%. And NSDL, NSDL is 20% and CDSL has close to, I guess, 50-60%. अगर आप CDSL का रेवेन्यू ब्रेकअप देखो ना, तो उनका 80% रेवेन्यू डिपॉजिटरी है. ओके, यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड जब जो CDSL है उसका क्वालिटेटिव रेवेन्यू कंप्लीटली ठीक है. And the repository is 1% and data entry has like roughly 20%. मतलब 78% precisely CDSL में depository है, 20% जो है वो data entries and storage है, और 1% repository and 1% others है. Okay, तो why I mentioned, I want to just tell you कि CDSL is a high growth company, NSDL is a sticky company. CDSL has higher number of demands, NSDL has lower number of demands. वो मार्केट शेयर ना 6-7 तरीकों से डिफाइन होता है. 3-4 पैरामीटर पे एनएसडीएल आ गए और बचे हुए पे सीडीएसएल आ गए. सो यू कैन नॉट से कि दिस इज हाई लार्जेस्ट. यस, इट इज लार्जेस्ट इन सम what we can say parameters, but not largest completely in terms of volume of transaction, number of demands, value, pure depository revenue. उसमें both are at par only. ठीक है. The IPO is of 4011 crores, completely an offer for sale, और कंपनी को जरूरत भी नहीं है. 2000 करोड़ का नेटवर्थ है, बुक्स पे 250 करोड़ 240 करोड़ प्रिसाइसली टाइप का कैश है, तो कंपनी को जरूरत भी नहीं पैसे की. सो दैट इज वेरी ओके. इट इज कमिंग एट 16,000 करोड़ वैल्यूएशन एम कैप, जो अगर मैं पी पे ट्रांसलेट करूं तो 46.64 का पी है FY25, और सीडीएसएल चल रहा है 59.560 टाइम्स पे. Coming on its financials, FY23 पे revenue was 1100 crores, PAT was 234.8, मतलब 235 round figure. FY24 the company did a revenue of 1366 crores, PAT was 275 crores, which was 24% kind of a growth. In FY25, the company did a revenue of 1535 crores, which was a 12% growth, and PAT of 343 crores. Now comparing with CDSL, CDSL did I guess growth of roughly 35-40% in 24 and I guess 22-23% types in 25. तो दोनों almost double का अंतर है मान लो. So अभी मैं ना थोड़ा सा valuation पे आ जाता हूँ. If I come on CDSL, अब देखो when you look at कि 60 का CDSL है, 47 का NSDL है, तो वार NSDL का देवमानुस है, 20% 30% का डिफरेंस रखा है रिटेलर्स के लिए, that comes into mind. But when you just look on FY27, because आप तो ये this 40, 50, 60 PE looks very high, and that is not the reality. When you just break down, CDSL चल रहा है 40 times 27, 40 times 27, और NSDL आया है 36 to 37 times. Okay, and frankly speaking, CDSL should get minimum 50% premium over NSDL due to the high growth, retail facing markets, and what we can say, मतलब CDSL is a kind of an aggressive investment कि यार मेरे को aggressive revenue growth चाहिए, मुझे ईपीएस ग्रोथ चाहिए, मेरे को आई वांट टू राइड ऑन इंडियाज रिटेलर्स बूमिंग व्हाट वी कैन से पार्टिसिपेशन इन द सिक्योरिटीज मार्केट, एंड व्हाइल एनएसडीएल इज मोस्टली इन द इंस्टीट्यूशन पार्ट, जो मतलब दैट इज स्टिकी बट नॉट वेरी हाई ग्रोथ. Just look at NSDL's what we can say standalone business. FY24 में वो जो खाली डिपॉजिटर है वो 25-30% से बढ़ा, बट FY25 में बहुत कम हो गया, हाई सिंगल डिजिट काइंड ऑफ ही ग्रोथ था, ज्यादा नहीं था. वेयर सीडीएसएल सो आई गेस इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग कुछ 15% टाइप का ग्रोथ. इवन आपको पता है FY25 में मार्केट्स वेयर अ बिट ऑन अ लोअर टम्बलिंग ऑन अ लोअर साइड, बट एंड ऑल्सो द आईपीओ ट्रांजेक्शन फीस वो सीडीएसएल का बहुत ज्यादा एनएसडीएल से, बट एनएसडीएल ऑल्सो डज दैट. So, frankly speaking, if the hype was not there and if the premium was not there, or whatever you say, or the what we can say the high, the talks were not high, मैं इसको avoid दे देता. To be very frank, I would have given this an avoid. But seeing the frenzy and seeing the hype behind this IPO, I would say I would be applying for 10, 12, 14% listing gains, or I'll be leaving this counter. So I am not at all happy with the valuations. ना मुझे business पसंद आया, ना मुझे ये hype समझ आ रही है. The anchor book frankly wasn't very good. I would rate it like 6 on 10 or 6.5 on 10. तो मेरी I would just say कि apply for small listing gains, and I'm not considering this for long term. आई नो इट्स अ बिट हार्श when you लोग बोल रहे हैं क्या पागल जैसा बोल रहा है यार, एनएसडीएल इतना बड़ा कंपनी है, इतना बड़ा कंपनी तो 15 महीना क्यों आईपीओ रोक के रखा था डीआरएसपी के बाद, तो वो दिखता है. सो आई जस्ट अप्लाई फॉर 10-15% gains and I'll just leave this counter.
Got it. Thanks, Tanmay. Couple of questions on this. Selling कौन कर रहे हैं? Who are the people who are exiting? Is everyone taking a partial exit या फिर कोई एक जना
So I'll
पूरा
tell you,
exit?
give you some background कि ये IPO क्यों हो रहा है, that is also important to understand. So there's an RBI norm कि कोई भी market infrastructure MFI जो है ना, MI जो भी market infrastructure institution, तो उसमें कोई भी एक सिंगल शेयर होल्डर कैनॉट own more than 15% equity. Okay? And if you just come on NSDL, उसमें आपका नेशनल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज एंड आईडीबीआई बैंक हैड अ होल्डिंग ऑफ, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, कुछ 25-24% टाइप का होल्डिंग था. So these both guys are the major sellers. उसके बाद your unit trust of India, which is UTI, is selling some, and I guess 1-2 more banks are selling some stake. So वो 5-6 लोग मिलके OFS कर रहे हैं. So after the IPO, this 25% will come to below that threshold of 15%, और बाकी जो 2-3 लोग हैं उनका थोड़ा थोड़ा OFS है. ज्यादा से ज्यादा OFS जो है वो आपका NSE का है एंड आईडीबीआई बैंक का है.
Got it. That is helpful. And you're saying that in itself, this is high sticky business will probably continue with the revenue, but growth would be slower to a CDSL.
हाँ,
correct?
15% टाइप का ग्रोथ मान लो इसको. ओके. एंड पेमेंट्स बैंक तो यार आई टेल बी इट्स अ कंप्लीट डस्टबिन बिजनेस. मतलब मुझे समझ नहीं रहा एनएसडीएल में क्या कर रहा है. दैट शुड हैव बीन, आई टेल यू वन मोर इशू विद दिस कंपनी. आपको पता होगा द गवर्नमेंट एंड द रेगुलेटर इज पुशिंग वेरी हार्ड फॉर द स्मॉल फाइनेंस बैंक्स टू गेट लिस्टेड. एंड आपको पता होगा रिसेंटली वो आर्टिकल भी आया था, आपने देखा होगा कि एयरटेल पेमेंट्स बैंक को भी रेगुलेटरी रीजंस, आई गेस आफ्टर दैट वन स्पेसिफिक थ्रेशोल्ड यू हैव टू लिस्ट योर बिजनेस. फिनो इज ऑलरेडी लिस्टेड, वो सबके सब पब्लिक इसमें अवेलेबल, वो भी ऊपर से 70% गिरा है. तो व्हाट आई फेल्ट कि इवेंचुअली 1-2 साल में इनको इसका भी आईपीओ करना पड़ेगा. और ये एंटिटी मेरे को देख के लग नहीं रहा आईपीओ करने लायक, इसमें बहुत सारे इश्यूज है. सो आई फील देयर इज वन एंगल ऑफ वैल्यू अनलॉकिंग विच इज ऑन अ गुड साइड, बट वैल्यू अनलॉकिंग इजी नहीं है, बहुत मुश्किल है. एंड यार 2 करोड़ पैट ऑन 700 crore रेवेन्यू इज नॉनसेंस ना. एंड इट्स 50% ऑफ योर 15 नहीं, 5050. तो
50% of top line, right? But
हाँ,
bottom
टॉप
line
लाइन,
is
पूरे
actually
टॉप लाइन का
very tech, no?
50% इज बैंकिंग.
हाँ, तो इग्नोर मारो उसको.
मतलब
Like
इग्नोर
what is
मारने के बाद तो
CDSL's
फिर
top line?
यार ये तो कितना महंगा है फिर तो. 800 करोड़ पे 16,
CDSL
20 टाइम्स रेवेन्यू कौन से बाप जमाने में मिला था, किसी भी कंपनी को नहीं मिलता.
I remember 10 टाइम पे यूनिकॉमर्स आई थी, हमने कहा बहुत महंगी है, और तो
हाँ
इट वाज अ SaaS business.
हाँ, एंड आई टेल यू यूनिकॉर्न 2 साल में 40% पैट पे जाएगा. ये 24 पे, खाली 24 पे बैठा है, मतलब नहीं जाएगा यार. तो आई एम नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट वाज द थिंकिंग बैड द प्राइसिंग, एंड व्हेन द मार्केट्स वर बैड द थिंग, सबका ये बोलना था कि जो गुड लेवल गाइज हु नोज सम डेप्थ इन दिस आईपीओ, कि भाई नहीं प्राइस बैंड 630 आना चाहिए. सो मार्केट ठीक हो 800 पे ला दिया, खत्म करो. सो आई फेल्ट कि 630 पे भी 10-15% गेन के लिए लगाने को बोलता है, नो फ्रैंकली. सो this is like NTPC green of your world. बहुत अच्छा था, पसंद भी था, बट इट जस्ट डिसअपॉइंटेड ऑन दी प्राइसिंग. दिस इज अ सिमिलर थिंग एंड एक्चुअली उसमें ग्रोथ तो था, एटलीस्ट इसमें ग्रोथ भी नहीं है. आई नो, आई एम टॉकिंग अगेंस्ट, लाइक यहाँ पे अगर 950 कितना लाइव है यार, 1063 लोग लाइव है. आई एम गोइंग अगेंस्ट 1100 ऑफ देम, 1000 ऑफ देम, की एनएसडीएल को मैं बुरा बोल रहा हूँ. बट मुझे तो पसंद नहीं आया. आई बी अप्लाइंग खाली 10 15 12% जो मिले, आई बी अप्लाइंग, लेके निकल जाऊंगा मैं, खत्म. तो मुझे तो नहीं पसंद आया आईपीओ.
Got it. With that, I also will be applying to
एंड
this
इवन
IPO.
इफ यू वांट टू गो फॉर लॉन्ग टर्म, आपको भी 2 साल के नीचे नहीं होना चाहिए. आई विल टेल यू व्हाई. बिकॉज वेन यू विल गो आफ्टर 2 years ना, आप इसको डिस्काउंट करोगे ऑन एफआई 28 29, जो आपका एकदम रफ कैलकुलेशन के हिसाब से रहना चाहिए 26 27 टाइम. सो दिस कंपनी इज कमिंग ऑन 27 28 टाइम्स 29. ओके, सीडीएसएल चल रहा है 20 टाइम, दोनों में 40% का डिफरेंस है. तो मेरे को सीडीएसएल लेना है कि मेरे को सीएमबी पे 40% ग्रोथ है 2 साल में. एनएसडीएल मेरे को नहीं दिख रहा है. सो इफ यूर विश टू इन्वेस्ट फॉर 2 years, देन यू विल गेट अ गेन्स ऑफ 30 40%. इफ यू जस्ट लुक एट एफआई 28 एफआई 29. अगर आपका व्यू 2 साल के अंदर का है, तो आपने लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए भी इसको कंसिडर नहीं कर रहे हैं. हाँ, 20 का ट्रेडिंग कर लिया, 10 15% खा लिया, वो अलग बात है. बट इफ यू आर वांट टू इन्वेस्ट समथिंग लाइक सीरियस, मेरे को लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए लगाना है, तो दिस इज ऑल्सो नॉट अ स्टॉक टू इन्वेस्ट फॉर लॉन्ग टर्म. सो आई विल बी अप्लाइंग खाली लो डबल डिजिट गेन्स. कोई बड़ी बात नहीं कि 8 10% ही लिस्ट हो, तो आई टेक दैट एंड आई जस्ट लीव दिस काउंटर.
Got it. Very helpful. So I will also be applying to this issue, majorly retail, because आज मैं देख रहा था बहुत फ्रेंजी है यार ये ऑलरेडी आज पहले दिन फुल भर गया इशू. I expect it to be fully subscribed. I think there are better opportunities which
And
will come
anchor
to.
book, I just saw anchor book. किसने देखा? मतलब actually I was laughing after seeing the anchor book. What happened in this? इतना बड़ा ये क्या anchor book आ रहा है? मतलब big guys. There were some very serious guys which did not participated. लास्ट में देख रहा हूँ यार, ये एस्टन कैपिटल क्या कर रहा है इसके एंकर बुक में? आई कुड नॉट अंडरस्टैंड दिस. तो आर्मी का फंड क्या कर रहा है इसमें? यस, दे हैव राइट टू इन्वेस्ट, बट दिस इज नॉट द काउंटर. ऑल द इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज, जीआईसी, ओरिएंटल इंश्योरेंस कब से डालने लगा एंकर में? सो वही है कि यार लिस्ट बढ़ाते जाओ. तो मेरे को एंकर बुक की समझ नहीं है इनकी. एकदम एनटीपीसी ग्रीन की बेटर थे एक्चुअली एंकर बुक. तो एक्चुअली इट्स
LIC got
डिसअपॉइंटिंग
a
ऑन ऑल
major
द पैरामीटर्स.
portion, right? LIC took like 8
एलआईसी,
10%.
हाँ हाँ, नहीं नहीं, आई गेस कुछ लो डबल डिजिट, लाइक 12% टाइप का एलआईसी लिखा गया. That was
Hmm.
very go LIC in a market, what we can say, government or this kind of a company taking 12%. That is very normal. वो NTPC में देखा एंगर बन रहा LIC को ला दो. That was very normal. But ठीक है, I'm disappointed on this IPO on each front. मतलब मेरे को किसी भी एंगल से अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है. डोंट नो इसमें प्रीमियम भी क्यों है. ठीक है, कच्चा खुल गया, गुड फॉर रिटेलर्स, एवरीवन विल गेट एटलीस्ट सम अलॉटमेंट, तो सबको मिल ही जाएगा. थोड़ा सब 2 पैसे बन जाएंगे. बट आई एम नॉट वेरी हैप्पी ऑन द साइकिल.
Got it. With that, we'll close NSDL. Probably similar views on NSDL and on Lotus. We don't understand the hype fully. That is what we mentioned, sir. But not all things are negative. The next two companies we are moving to will definitely be positive. But yeah, with that, we'll kind of move forward and talk about Aditya Infotech. Before we go there, Rohit, assignment for you. I know everyone's asking कि big HNI कितना भरेगा. So, or like, कौन सा subscribe कितना होगा? So while you do Aditya, then we go to M&B. While we are doing M&B, can you just do rough calculations in your mind while you can, if possible, or else we'll try and do them on the go. With that, let me just move forward to Aditya Infotech. The company manufactures and provides video security and surveillance products, solutions and services under the brand name CPPlus. CPPlus का जो consumer brand है, everybody would be knowing CCTV वाला. That is Aditya Infotech. It is not related to Aditya Birla, and the company had to issue a notification for that as well. The company's manufacturing facility is located in Kapada, Andhra Pradesh, and is supported by a network of 41 branch offices and 13 written merchandise authorization centers nationwide. They have multiple branches as well and distributors essentially. So with that, maybe setting up the IPO, it's a 1300 crore IPO, 1300 crore का IPO है, जिसमें से 500 करोड़ फ्रेश है, 800 करोड़ का OFS है. कंपनी का जो मार्केट कैप है दैट इज 7,900 करोड़. सो कंपनी 1300 करोड़ 1300 करोड़ डाइल्यूट कर रही है 7,900 करोड़ पे. सो 15% का डाइल्यूशन है. FY25 फाइनेंशियल्स की बात करूं तो 3,100 करोड़ का टॉप लाइन है एंड 350 करोड़ का बॉटम लाइन है. सो it's coming at like, let's say, close to 25 PE FY25, but I understand there's a big component of other income in it. We'll try and talk when Rohit explains it. In terms of the LM is ICICI Securities and IAFL. So with that, over to you, Rohit, to talk about Aditya Infotech.
Thanks, Manish. So Aditya Infotech, as Manish has set it up, is India's largest video security and surveillance products company. They have a 21% market share. So that's obviously very, very significant for a consumer brand in one single segment. They market their products primarily under, or about 75% of what they sell is products under their own brand, which is CPPlus, which you would have seen. They also sell this Chinese product or this Chinese brand called Dahua, which is, I think, one of the largest Chinese and I'd say globally camera product. They are the exclusive distributor in India. That makes up the other 25% of their business. And I'll come to the relevance of this shortly when I cover this whole STQC sort of point that some people might know about. So what do they sell? They sell the CCTV cameras, video recorders, these doorbells, dash cams, these pan and tilt and zoom cameras. A lot of the stuff that you might have nowadays be using either on your vehicle, in your home. Plus, of course, a lot of these are used in more commercial settings. You know, you'll see it in a mall, you'll see it in a police station, in a school, in a bank. You know, wherever you need cameras, wherever security surveillance is important, you'll see these products, and you will see effectively, there's a very good chance you'll see Aditya Infotech's products because 1 in 5 products sold in India is theirs. They sell this through a network of around 1,000 distributors, which makes up about 80% of what they sell. So they did about 3,100 crores, about 80% is through distributors. 2% is, a little more than 4%, I think, is from e-commerce, which is actually surprisingly small. And the balance, which is about 16%, comes from projects, which is a piece of business that I found interesting, which is where you work with, let's say a bank. You want to make that bank surveillance and video, secure. So it is not simply going and installing a camera, but it's an entire solution of what needs to be done. They do this through what they call system integrators, who these guys will train and help. And they sort of have the processes for, and those system integrators will then go on and install this in that end client, install all these products together as one giant system at the end client. So some I'd say key facts. So this is the largest manufacturer of video products outside of China. I think they're the third largest manufacturer in the world. They have a capacity of 17 million units per year. They utilize, I think, almost 77% of their capacity last year. They are looking to expand the capacity, though they have not specified by how much. There is some capital work in progress in their balance sheet, but it's hard to tell exactly how much. But they've mentioned that there is enough space and they're constantly doing it. So we can kind of assume that they will keep adding machinery and equipment as they grow. One point here is the average value of what they sell. So they did about 3,100 crore at 77 capacity with 17 on million units. The price of what they sell is around 2,000, 2,500 rupees only. If you go on Amazon, you'll see their products. You'll see the typical ticket of what they sell. So these are not very, I would say, high-end products. They're fairly massy products, not going to have the highest margin that reflects in their P&L also, which I'll come to. But yeah, it just gives you a sense that these are not like ultra premium products. They're fairly affordable, accessible, but also by that regard, they're also thin margin products. One thing is this whole manufacturing plant was actually not set up under this company. It was initially set up as a JV, a 50-50 JV with Dixon, which is obviously a very well-known EMS player. Last year, they acquired this full entity in-house. That it shows up in their balance sheet as well. And in return, they also gave some shares to Dixon, and Dixon today has, I think, 6% share in Aditya Infotech. And there was some consideration of, I think, 248 crore or so, which is what will show up in the P&L as that exceptional item. And I'll cover that when I just talk about the valuations. Now, this company, I think I mentioned that a quarter of their business is this Dahua brand products, which are these Chinese products. Now, there is one good and bad thing. So the government has introduced this certification called the STQC for sale of all CCTV cameras in India from April 9th of this year, which is basically this financial year. The good thing is Aditya Infotech, CPPlus, most of their products are STQC compliant. So anyone who's not STQC compliant, especially a lot of the imported products, will suddenly not be allowed to be sold in India. But 25% of Aditya's business is from this Dahua product, which is essentially trading, right? They're bringing that product and they're distributing it here. That business will stop now because those products are obviously not STQC certified. I am not sure exactly how they're going to offset that 25% business loss. Obviously, their current products can make up for it, but they also have some restrictions, right? They are 77% capacity utilization. Manufacturing cannot suddenly immediately ramp up and take care of that 25% that will have to stop. So the management has said that they will obviously shift focus to CP Plus, but I am not clear on how quickly, how fast, how practically that will happen. So let's see. That's one of the concerns that I have. Now, I had mentioned earlier that this is a fairly thin margin product. What they do, obviously they have these SMT lines, they have assembly lines and stuff, but majority of what they get is, kind of assembly or super assembly, you can say. They put together these cameras based on all the parts that they source largely from China. This is, to be honest, this is the extent of manufacturing that happens in the electronic space in India. As we get more and more mature, we will start manufacturing some of those components too. But in terms of capability, they're at the top of where India is, but obviously not really truly manufacturing. It would reflect also in their margins. They have single-digit EBITDA margin of around 8% or so. Like I said, there is fairly low price. You can see that their volumes have risen a lot from FY24 to 25, 30-35%, but the revenue has only risen by 10-12%. So again, there is no pricing power in this product. Now, if you look at the P&L, they did 3,000 crore. They did around, I think, a PBT of 185 crore before the exceptional income. It looks like they've done a PAT of almost 350 crore. But if you remove that 250 crore of that exceptional income that came from that from the Dixon deal, they are actually at more or less flat with last year at a PAT level. You'll have to kind of calculate it, but broadly, my sense is if you take the standard tax rate, they would have done about a 140 crore PAT for FY25. On that base, this company is coming at a 7,900 crore market cap, which is about 56 x. They are now part of the funds that they're raising, the non-OFS component is to pay off debt. I think about 370 odd crore they're paying off, which will make them almost debt free. That will save them, you can say mathematically, some 30 crore of debt interest before tax, which is 23 crore of interest after tax. So even if I add that back, it's coming at around, say, 160 crore of effective PAT, which is around 50 times for this year. That is FY25. Going forward, maybe you can say they're coming around 40 times. This is being a bit generous because even last year, FY24 to 25, they grew only 12% year on year. This company is coming at 50 times. The EMS space, the true EMS players do trade at, like a Dixon and Amber and all of these guys do trade at very, very high multiples. They trade at 90, 100, 110, crazy numbers. They also have exceptional growth to go with it. They all are growing anywhere from 30, 50, 60, 80 times, 80% year on year, while this company is actually growing at 12%. Now, for me, it all depends on how this STQC thing plays out. Are they able to replace the lost revenue from Dahua fast enough, accelerate manufacturing fast enough that they are able to grow and use the fact that there'll be vendors who have lost the certification or don't have the certificate and therefore will lose business and capture that market fast enough. I didn't get any comfort on that from any of the interviews, I'll be honest. I'm still waiting. I'm hoping there are more interviews. I think I just saw one from NDTV. There are more interviews where they talk about this. I will obviously change my mind. But I am finding this business expensive, very, very expensive. I don't think it can be compared just because Dixon has 6% in this company. I don't think this is going to get 100 P. At 50 times, being very generous and saying 50 times, if it lists as per GMP, it lists at 65, 70 times for a business that right now is growing at 12 to 15%. I would need a lot more comfort that this company can grow at 40, 50, 60% before giving it this kind of a multiple. So I am actually not very, very bullish. I like what they're doing and the fact that they're a very niche company, very large market share, so on. So this definitely deserves a premium, but I am surprised. The anchor book was also fantastic. It was absolutely a top-notch anchor book, but I find the pricing very, very high. So for me personally, this is going to be a get in, get out, play the hype, probably will list, maybe do well the short term also. But at the end of the day, in my view, this is like these products selling 2,000, 2,500 rupee cameras that sit in people's homes. Majority of what they sell is that. To me, not super exciting unless they can show some change in trajectory. And that STQC is their way out, is the thing that will provide that for them. Maybe after the listing, they will be able to give more guidance of how they're going to scale up revenue, which today they're not able to because of whatever SEBI rules. So let's see. I think it is okay to apply. It will definitely not list negative. Might as well list, as per the GMP also. But I personally did not find it. When I first saw this, I thought, wow, this will be an extraordinary company, amazing. And then I saw the sad revenue growth and like the fact that revenue growth is looking very doubtful for me going forward. So I'm little bit, I'm quite neutral beyond this thing gets.
Third company of the day, which we are not super bullish on. But yeah, I remember when you had first read the company, you were going on and spamming people's YouTube, telling them about how other income को नहीं लेना होता है पी गिनते वक्त, which was cute. But having said that, I have a pointer, which is what I think you should be considering how I look at this business. I would think a true peer is a HUL, and hear me out while you say this. HUL would be super low growth in terms of sales, but will still enjoy a great PE simply because why would consumerism stop? So in a way, it is that only right here, like CTV cameras, etc. This guy is the biggest player, probably biggest organized player, will continue to become bigger. So everything's aligned for it. So even if the sales growth doesn't come in, the PE would essentially re-rate so much that will give you a lot of goodness is what I feel personally. Anything that you have to add on
See,
that part?
it's coming at 50 times this year, okay? At a 40% pop, if you have to believe the GMP, it is, and 50 is after I've completely removed the debt. At a 40% pop, it is coming at 70x. I cannot for the life of me understand why HUL trades at the multiples that it does. It's not, okay, again, a lot of these reviews are not absolute, right? Everyone has a view based on how they invest. I cannot invest in a company that trades at 70 times and is growing 12 to 15%. It just doesn't sit in my value equation. So that is why it is my own view that the same way I cannot invest in an HUL, though HUL has traded at those multiples forever. So I am wrong in that sense that the market should not give this multiple. So obviously the market is giving it. It's just my own personal mental models don't work. And so it's something similar here. Again, this is a very good company. What they've built is excellent. But just look at their margins. Their margins have actually fallen. Look at their volume growth to revenue growth. Again, it has fallen. They're growing volume, not growing margins. Selling products for 2,000, 2,500 rupees. These are not very, I find these fairly almost commoditized products. If you go online and try to buy this, or just go to a shop and try to buy this, the one camera will look like another camera. The only game is STQC. The fact that there is now a sudden stop on effectively Chinese imports, that gives these guys one major tailwind. Apart from that, I am finding this business very, very, it's not for me.
Got it. No, I'll tell you. And again, since you said online is just 4%, so maybe my affiliation doesn't sit with it, but I have ordered a few those 360-degree cameras. I just tend to go and order a CPPlus.
And I have multiple in my house. There's not even one CPPlus because it just didn't for me. There is no brand only in this space. I use Cubo one room. I use some Tapo in another room. So it's it's very, very commoditized is what I feel. the products that you use at home are extremely commoditized. So again, that's just my view. Market obviously will take a call, but at 70x I
Market
can't.
will discount your
I,
views so fast.
yeah. But yes, hopefully, hopefully it does better from because it's something that will give a chance of allotment. I think because of all the buzzard, so many IPOs, and I think clearly the interest is there. So it's definitely something I will apply for, and I hope I get a 40%, and I will also run for the hills.
Okay, I will probably hold on for a few more days after if I get allotment. I would want to see how much can it do well. Plus, I think there's some story which we don't fully understand. Maybe this SCQC thing which you said, which will add in. Sachin, do you have something to say, or I can move on to Tanmay and then talk about the last?
They have a separate brand, something on Vigil. What's that? Some command control center. Is it part of the revenue mix currently?
I did see this. I think this has something to do with their system integration piece. So when they do the system integration, they do it as part of this on Vigil brand. When they sell, say, an entire solution to a bank or an entire solution to a hospital or a hotel. That's my understanding. I mean, I skimmed it. I saw this briefly, but that is what it is.
So maybe this can replace that Dow share going ahead. But
it's the same products. It's the same products. It's just integrated into a solution. It's not a brand per se. It's not an SKU or a bunch of SKUs. Okay. It is the putting together of the integrated solution.
All right.
Tanmay, any views from you before we move forward to the last company?
Actually, no, I did not read Aditya Infotech at this point in where maybe tonight I'll be reading. I am also having some concerns regarding that China wala business that will go off, and EBITDA margins from last 3 years are going down. The PAT is going down. The valuations are, I guess, 73, 74 times if I just adjust. But this is a business where the institutions like to be in. Ki yaar, इसमें नहीं लगा तो क्या लगा? You can. There's a very less chance that you are going to lose money. At least an institutional fund anchor was good. So. I have lot of concerns, but I'm not very negative on this business. I would say neutral to positive, but very positive on listing in. But उसके बाद का this again 40% लेके I'll be taking a backseat from this business. But I'll analyze more tonight and I'll present it maybe tonight itself or tomorrow. So it will be less prudent for me to comment on CPPlus.
Perfect. I will look forward to that. Although I will be applying. This is the company which I would probably be targeting of all. Because I think a lot of people would be waiting for NSDL. It's the biggest size IPO. So I would want to put in my big HNI applications tomorrow in Aditya. That is what I am going to do. But with that, maybe let's move forward and talk about M&B Engineering. Before we start M&B, Rohit, if you can do a rough match if possible. If not, we'll try and see. In terms of subscription.
I haven't done it yet, but maybe I'll try after M&B.
You have 10 minutes because I'm assuming we'll do 10 minutes of M&B. Or if you want to listen to M&B, we can do it later as well. So just setting up M&B, incorporated in 1981, companies engaged in the business of PEB, pre-engineering buildings and self-supporting roofing systems. The company operates 2 manufacturing facilities in Anand, Gujarat and Shia, Tamil Nadu with a combined PEB facility capacity of 1,800,000 metric tons per annum. Setting up the IPO, it's a 650 crore IPO, बहुत ही छोटा IPO है. Out of which 275 crores is a fresh issue, 375 is the OFS. 375 crore का OFS है. Only 275 crores is going into the company in terms of as fresh capital. The market cap at which the company is coming post money is 2200 crores. So 2200 पे 650 crores का raise है. So around 30% dilution है. And काफी पुरानी company है. Like I said, incorporated in 1981. So has 45 years of history behind it. In terms of the FY25 financials, revenue 1500 crore का है. Is this correct? I think I messed up.
No, I guess it's roughly 997 जो मेरे को याद है.
मैंने कहीं और का लिख दिया तो जैसे ही 1500 देखा मैंने कहा I was like, just give me 1 minute while I try and see what the revenue of the company. So
997 ही है. 997.
The revenue of the company is 997 crores and the PAT is 77 crores. So 77 crores पे 2200 की market cap पे आ रही
28.
है, so it's coming at somewhere around 28 PE. In terms of the LM is Equirus Capital and Dam Capital. So with that, over to you, Tanmay, to talk about M&B Engineering.
So M&B Engineering is a leading pre-engineered building PB player and self-supporting roof solutions company. So क्या होता है यार, बहुत let's say there's a big project of a company, let's say it's a manufacturing company, उसको अपना setup डालना है, warehouse डालना है, factory डालना है, and now वो सारा construction takes a lot of time, and it's a very, what we can say, unpleasant business to give our time to it. So ये pre-engineered building का एक concept है, पुराना concept है, out of India it's like a very very normal concept, but in India भी पुराना है, but what we can say, बहुत सारा इसका जो है ना डेवलपमेंट अभी से ही हो रहा है, आउट ऑफ 100 बिल्डिंग्स जस्ट आई गेस 4.5 बिल्डिंग्स आर पीईबी बिल्डिंग्स. सो दिस इज इनटू दैट सोल्यूशन. तो ये क्या करते हैं, प्री इंजीनियर्ड बिल्डिंग्स बनाते हैं और उसको पार्ट्स में लॉजिस्टिक्स थ्रू वो साइट पे भेज के उसे असेंबल करते हैं. दिस इज व्हाट द बिजनेस इज. एंड सेकंड इज सेल्फ सपोर्टिंग रूफ सिस्टम. So this company is one of the pioneer in PEB solutions in India and the largest company in self-supporting roof solutions. So the company provides complete turnkey solutions, which includes project designing, engineering, erection, manufacturing, and the installation and assembly across industries like general engineering, manufacturing, food and beverages, warehousing, logistics, power, textile, railways, renewable energy, etc. Till date, the company has executed 9,500 plus projects and has served to 2,000 plus customers. अभी इनके दो ब्रांड्स है, okay? One is Phoenix and one is Proflex. Phoenix is your PEB का brand which has 77% revenue. The second is Proflex, which is your self-supporting roofing solution that has 22.6% revenue and 0.1 is others. अभी just read out its clientele. अदानी ग्रुप में है तो अदानी ग्रीन है, अदानी पोर्ट्स है, अदानी लॉजिस्टिक्स है, अदानी एसईजेड है, एआई इंजीनियरिंग, एलेंबिक फार्मा, टाटा एडवांस सिस्टम्स, बालाजी वेफर्स, पीएसपी प्रोजेक्ट्स, अविन लिमिटेड, हल्दीराम, एसएमसी पावर, ओरिएंटल रबर, इंटास फार्मा, लक्ष्मी हाइड्रोलिक्स और बहुत सारे क्लाइंट है, बहुत ज्यादा है. कंपनी करेंटली एज ऑर्डर बुक ऑफ 845 करोड़. से ऑर्डर बुक का मैं थोड़ा बाद में आऊंगा बिकॉज दैट इज अ मोर रिलेवेंट थिंग विच विल कमिंग एट अ लेटर पॉइंट. 93.57% रेवेन्यू इंडिया में, 6.5% एक्सपोर्ट है. सो एक्सपोर्ट में दिस कंपनी इज द ओनली कंपनी विच डज एन एक्सपोर्ट एंड ऑल्सो द लार्जेस्ट बिकॉज ओनली है, ओके, अकेली कंपनी है. तो रफली इन्होंने 62-63 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू, आई गेस 64 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू एक्सपोर्ट से किया, मेजरली इनटू यूएसए. The company has two facilities. उसमें से जो एक है that has got commenced in FY25 itself. First is in Sanand, Gujarat, and second is in Cheyyar, Tamil Nadu. दोनों का कंबाइंड कैपेसिटी मैं आपको बताऊंगा. पीबी का है 1,03,800 मेट्रिक टन पर एनम एंड सेल्फ सपोर्टिंग रूफिंग का है 18 लाख स्क्वायर मीटर्स. ओके, दैट इज नॉट इनटू एमटी बट इट्स इनटू स्क्वायर मीटर्स. And if I just talk on the utilization, Sanand is running at 63.3%. One good thing is कि Cheyyar तो अभी बना but still it's at 23%. This is for PB. अगर मैं सेल्फ सपोर्टिंग रूप का बोलूं तो रफली 65% यूटिलाइजेशन पे है. तो अभी का 650 करोड़ का आईपीओ है, 275 करोड़ का फ्रेश है, 375 का ओएफएस है. थोड़ा ज्यादा ओएफएस है बट ठीक है. कंपनी एज रिसेंटली डन अ केपेक्स और डेट भी बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है तो ठीक है, मतलब ओएफएस. द कंपनी इज स्पेंडिंग 130.6 करोड़ टुवर्ड्स केपेक्स एंड उसमें इक्विपमेंट हो गया, बिल्डिंग हो गया, मशीनरी हो गया, वो पूरा फैसिलिटी रिलेटेड जो भी चीज है उसका मिला के 130.6 करोड़. 5.2 crores towards IT infrastructure and IT softwares. The company will be repaying debt of 58.75 crores और 80 करोड़ का GCP है. Now coming on its financials, FY24 808.3 crore का revenue and PAT was 45.6, and in FY25 revenue, the revenue is like 997 crores and PAT is 77 crores. Mindwell, I guess इनका 23, I haven't, I'm not remembering, तो I guess close to degrowth हुआ है इनका. ओके, रेवेन्यू का I guess 7-8% का कोई degrowth है. So management had said कि दैट इज ऑन द बैक ऑफ द मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक सेंटिमेंट्स और थोड़ा सप्लाई चेन कंसर्न्स, तो ये सब बोला है. एंड आई गेस उन्होंने एक दो और रीजन बोले विच आई एम नॉट एबल टू रिकॉल. बट FY25 में द कंपनी हैज डन अ ग्रोथ ऑफ रफली 24% प्रिसाइजली. कंपनी 2200 करोड़ मार्केट कैप पे आ रही, विच इज 28 times 25. ओके. Peers are trading at Intrarch building which got listed last year is trading at 34 times 25. Bansal is trading at 30 times. Pennar is trading at 26 times. Everest is a loss making company. Birla Corporation now अभी उसका branding Birla NU हो गया, that is also loss making company. So if I come on the ROE, the company has the best ROE which is 25% in the whole industry. Intrarch का 16% है, तो वो दोनों में बहुत डिफरेंस है. बाकी सब तो I guess सिंगल और लो डबल डिजिट्स पे. ROC कंपनी का 24.8 which is best in industry. One good thing is company is the only company that has certification from the American Institute of Steel Construction, which is AISC, okay, which is only company in India to get that. अभी मैं अगर इसका FY20 अपना ऑर्डर बुक पे आता हूँ, ऑर्डर बुक में लास्ट में उसका रेलेवेंस है. जो मैंने आपको 845 करोड़ का ऑर्डर बुक बताया, उसमें से जो फेनिक्स दैट इज 6633.6 करोड़ एंड प्रोफ्लेक्स इज 209 करोड़. ठीक है. अभी आपको एक चीज ये देखना पड़ेगा कि जो फेनिक्स है उसमें मार्जिन आर लाइक आई वुड से रफली 8% EBITDA, और ये जो प्रोफ्लेक्स है उसमें थोड़ा ज्यादा है, लो डबल डिजिट. एंड एक्सपोर्ट एज अ लॉट ऑफ हायर, आई गेस 20-25% टाइप का EBITDA मार्जिन है. बट एक्सपोर्ट्स 3 साल पहले 2% था, अभी आई गेस कुछ 6.5% टाइप का कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन है टू द रेवेन्यू. तो ये जो ऑर्डर बुक है ना, ये 6 से 8 महीने की है. ठीक है. एंड very important thing to notice कि this order book is at after the end of 30th June. मतलब एक क्वार्टर का पूरा रेवेन्यू बुक हो चुका है, उसके बाद की ऑर्डर बुक है. ठीक है. which will get completed in like 6 to 9 months. जो उनका एक्सपोर्ट्स होता है उसमें 20 दिन का शिपिंग प्लस बिलिंग का चीज होता है, विच इज लाइक 140 days काइंड ऑफ व्हाट वी कैन से कैपिटल साइकिल, और नॉर्मल बिजनेस पैकेज को 100 दिन का टाइप का साइकिल है. तो ये 843 भी होगा, एग्जिस्टिंग में पहला क्वार्टर कर चुके हैं और थोड़ा 100 के आसपास तो करेंगे. सो इफ आई जस्ट एक्स्ट्रापोलेट दिस नंबर्स, ये FY26 में मिनिमम टू मिनिमम 1350 करोड़ करेगा. आई फील 1300 कैन बी द वर्स्ट केस, बट ऊपर ही करेगा, 1400 कर देगा. बट टेकिंग मीन एट 1350 एंड पैट जो आ रहा है तो 120 करोड़ टाइप का आ रहा है. सो ये आ रहा है 18M6. ठीक है. लिस्टेड में इंट्रार्क इज ट्रेडिंग एट 29 times 26. मैनेजमेंट और सारे रिपोर्ट्स में उसका ग्रोथ दिया है 10 से 12%. पैट का ग्रोथ दिया है 13 से 14%. तो वो 34 पे तो नहीं, 34 भी नहीं आएगा, 30 टाइम्स ही आएगा वो. ओके. मैं 28 या 29 भी कम बोल रहा हूँ, तो अप्रोक्स 30 टाइम्स पे आएगा. पेन्नार और बंसल तो है ही नहीं लीग में, मतलब वो तो 2-3% पैट वाला बिजनेसेस है. एवरेस्ट और बिरला तो लॉस में है. देयर इज वन मोर कंपनी कमिंग फॉर एन IPO दिस मंथ विच इज आई मीन ऑगस्ट इज ईपैक प्रीफैब. आई गेस जो कुछ 35-40 पी पे आ रहा है, एंड फॉरवर्ड पे आई हैव नो आइडिया, मैंने देखा नहीं हो बहुत. तो आई फील दैट दिस कंपनी इज बेस्ट अमॉन्ग द पियर्स, द पायोनियर्स, एंड कंपनी इज बेस्ड आउट ऑफ अहमदाबाद. ओके. बहुत पुराना ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है. दिस गाइज आर पायोनियर्स सर्विंग टू द बेस्ट कस्टमर्स. इन्होंने जो आपका आई गेस कोई तो सबसे बड़ी जो अपनी ऑटोमोबाइल कंपनी, उनका भी जो सबसे बड़ा फैसिलिटी था इन्होंने डाला था. एंड आई गॉट फ्रॉम अहमदाबाद गाइस कि रिलायंस में जो रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी का है ना वो बड़ा सा प्रोजेक्ट, वो भी यही कर रहे हैं. तो आई फेल्ट कि द वैल्यूएशन एक्सट्रीमली जूसी एंड दिस इज एन हाईली ओवरवेट अप्लाई फ्रॉम माई एंड. मतलब मुझे इस IPO में 50% एकदम वैनिला अपसाइड दिख रहा है. वेरी वेरी ऑनेस्टली 50% क्लियर दिख रहा है. एंड इट्स एन ओवरवेट अप्लाई फ्रॉम माई एंड. मेरे को बहुत पसंद आया कंपनी. एंड एंकर बुक, आई जस्ट रीड इट आउट, गिव मी अ मिनट. तो एंकर बुक वाज एक्सट्रीमली टॉप नॉच. मतलब द बेस्ट ऑफ बेस्ट नेम्स वर इन द एंकर बुक. जस्ट रीड आउट द नेम्स. इतना छोटा IPO है 600 करोड़ का, उसमें अबू धाबी इन्वेस्टमेंट इज द लार्जेस्ट एंकर. ठीक है. After that, you have got SDFC, Kotak, White Oak. I like that fund a lot. PineBridge, the Abacus, Sunil Singhania जी का इकिगाई emerging fund, which is Mr. Pankaj Tibrewal. I admire him a lot. मुझे उनका thesis बहुत पसंद आता है. Then you have got Carnelian, which is Vikas Kemani जी का fund. You have got IT, you have got JM, you have got Nuvama, SBI, बंधन, आदित्य बिरला. और इतनी छोटी एंकर बुक में है, इतने सब लोगों को अकोमोडेट करना एक बड़ी बात है. एंड इट सेज की सॉलिड है. बट वन बैड थिंग एटलीस्ट फॉर रिटेल, इसकी रिटेल इज 10%, मतलब अलोकेशन कम है. एंड इसका गुड साइड इसकी इसका सेलिंग भी बहुत कम आएगा, ठीक है, ऑन डे वन, बिकॉज रिटेल इज जस्ट 10%, तो फ्लिप करने वाले लोग बहुत कम है. डोंट टेक मी इन ऑफेंसिव, बट दैट्स व्हाट वी डू, वी गाइस जस्ट फ्लिप. तो selling pressure should be, comparatively lower. So this is a complete blind apply from my end, and I'll be applying full force. और मैं अगर ये मेरे को दिखे कि 30% से कम लिस्ट हो रहा है, I'll be adding this in my portfolio because I don't have any company in the PB in my portfolio. Yes, I had got allotment in Intrarch, बट मुझे उनका ग्रोथ इतना स्लो था कि मैंने डे वन पैकेज 45% बुक करके निकले. यस, उसके बाद भी वो 30-40% रैली हुआ है, बट आई कुड नॉट मेक मनी इन दैट. सो आई विल बी एडिंग दिस कंपनी में पोर्टफोलियो इवन इफ इट लिस्ट एट 30%. 30 से नीचे मेरे को दिखता नहीं लिस्टिंग हो गई, बहुत अच्छी बात है. आई विल गेट इट एट अ लोअर एंट्री, बट ओवरवेट अप्लाई फ्रॉम माई एंड. प्रॉपर अहमदाबाद का टिपिकल प्रमोटर है. लिटिगेशन भी कोई नहीं है. जस्ट आई गॉट जस्ट सो आई गेस 2 इंटरव्यूज. यार क्या इंटरव्यू दिया है, मतलब सच मतलब बहुत अच्छा. नई नई कंपनी, बट वेरी व्हाट वी कैन से मैच्योर्ड काइंड ऑफ एन इंटरव्यू. हर चीज का सही से जवाब दिया. सब कुछ दिख रहा था. ओल्ड प्लेयर 3-4 डिकेड से. सो मुझे तो हर पैरामीटर पे अच्छी लगी कंपनी. आई विल बी अप्लाइंग फुल फोर्स.
Got it. I remember this because when I was mentioning revenue itself, because you were very constructive on the order book, right? कि 6 महीने में order book ही कर देगा उतना जितना पिछले साल का revenue है. So that talks about a lot about the growth of the company. So that is how I also remembered कि यार मैंने revenue गलत डाला है, 1500 करोड़ डाला है, which I then FY 26 का बोल रहा हूँ मैं भी. But yeah, let's see. I haven't read the business honestly yet, but I would just go ahead with it. I'm still very confused कि मैं आदित्य इन्फोटेक में अप्लाई करूंगा या फिर M&B इंजीनियरिंग में अप्लाई करूंगा. I will probably apply to one of these two and like then put retail in others. That is what my thought process is. I kind of like the business. I like the sector. PEB sector in itself is hot. It has a lot of like undercurrent in it. And then if this player is actually planning to be grow consistently, my question to you, Tanmay, is, and this is what I'm thinking it. This is more of like FY 26 growth, right? Order book है per se. Like what
25
about
पे भी सस्ता है यार. 25
future?
पे सस्ता.
फ्यूचर पे अगर मैं बात करूं तो हाउ डू यू सी लाइक देम गेटिंग
मैं
मोर
इसको
बिजनेस?
मतलब टू बी वेरी फ्रैंक, आई वैल्यू दिस कंपनी एटलीस्ट 20% प्रीमियम टू एनी अदर पीयर. ठीक है, तो अगर मुझे 29 टू 30 बेस्ट ऑफ बेस्ट केस 29 टाइम्स, 29 के नीचे नहीं इंटरआर्क. एंड दैट इज लाइक अटमोस्ट सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ अ कंपनी. ईपैक का भी आईपीओ आ रहा है अभी, दैट शुड कम इन सेकंड हाफ ऑफ अगस्त. तो महंगा आएगा बहुत, तो लोगों को तब समझ में आएगा कि ये क्यों अच्छा है. तो आई फील कि इसको मैं मिनिमम इंटरआर्क के लेवल पे 30 टाइम्स 26 भी दूं तो मेरा अपसेट 60% निकलता है. ओके, एंड आई एक्सपेक्ट उससे भी ज्यादा, बट ठीक है. मतलब आई एक्सपेक्ट एटलीस्ट हाफ ऑफ दैट गेटिंग ट्रांसलेटेड इनटू लिस्टिंग गेन्स, एंड होपिंग दैट इट इज लेस देन दैट. मेरे को एंट्री चाहिए सस्ते में.
Got it. Rohit, any comments from your side? And maybe this is more related to the second part of the business, roofing business, from what I was speaking. Roofing business is not a order book business, or is it a order book business? Like वो 80
इसमें
crore में वो
पार्शियली
included
एक्चुअली
है या नहीं है, क्या सीन है?
अर्लियर मुझे लगा कि ये नॉन ऑर्डर बुक बिजनेस, बट देन आई थॉट कि इसमें एक्सपोर्ट भी इनका. तो दिस इज मोस्टली ऑर्डर बुक ड्रिवन बिजनेस ऑनलाइन. आई गेस आई हैड गिवन द ब्रेकअप. 843 करोड़ का ऑर्डर बुक में से 636 जो है वो 633 है वो फिनिक्स है. प्रोफ्लेक्सिस 209. जो प्रोफ्लेक्सिस लाइक द रूफिंग थिंग. सो आई गेस 25-26% ऑफ द ऑर्डर बुक है, और उसमें मार्जिन आर हाइयर. जो पिछले साल इनका ब्लेंड 22-23% था, वो आई गेस अभी ये साल 26-27 आएगा. एंड द एक्सपोर्ट्स विल इंक्रीज फ्रॉम 6 to 9. तो ओवरऑल इनका जो एबिटा है वो 10 से ऑलमोस्ट 12.5 आ जाएगा. एंड पैट विल इंक्रीज बिकॉज डेट विल गेट पेड ऑफ. तो उससे ऑलमोस्ट 5-6 करोड़ का स्ट्रेट जंप आ जाएगा.
Got it. So if I have to ask you, Aditya or M&B, and Rohit, you had something to say after this, so maybe.
तो ठीक है, आई जस्ट गिव माई प्रायोरिटी. फर्स्ट इट बी लाइक आदित्य फॉर लिस्टिंग गेन्स, ओके, प्योरली. सेकंड विल बी फॉर एमएनबी. दोनों में बिग एचएनआई जाऊंगा मैं फॉर श्योर. एनएसडीएल आई गो विद स्मॉल एचएनआई अगर पैसा है, नहीं तो रिटेल. फोर्थ मैं आई की बोथ नहीं, फोर्थ पे शायद मैं लक्ष्मी ले लूं. फिफ्थ पे मैं मतलब लोटस ले. मेरे को लोटस से तो भयंकर दिक्कत में समझ नहीं आ रहा हूँ. व्हाई आई एम नॉट लाइकिंग दिस बिजनेस, बट लोटस में नहीं करूंगा. कितना भी खुल जाए मुझे नहीं चाहिए लोटस. लक्ष्मी में शायद नहीं डालूंगा मैं, मतलब लेगूंगा लक्ष्मी. अगर आई हैव सम फंड आई पुट सम रिटेल. मतलब आई डोंट फील दिस शुड डिसअपॉइंट. 10% टिप खुलना चाहिए, ऐसा मेरा इंटरनल है. आई कैन बी श्योरली रॉन्ग, एंड it has to be wrong. 60% case I'll be going wrong in Lakshmi, but I feel उस पर पैसा बन जाएगा थोड़ा बहुत. बट मिलना भी नहीं, वो भी बात है कि छोटा IPO, बट स्टिल द सब्सक्रिप्शन इज एक्चुअली वेरी लो, तो माइट पुट इन सम, क्योंकि सब्सक्रिप्शन बहुत लो दिख रहा है मुझे, इवन दो डिसेंट, बहुत तोड़फोड़ नहीं, बट डिसेंट कंपनी, बट कम सब्सक्रिप्शन है, तो थोड़ा बहुत उसको ले लूं मैं. और नंबर 1 शुड बी आदित्य इन्फोटेक, 2 शुड बी M&B, NSDL शुड बी एट 3. उसके बाद पैसा बचा तो शांति, सॉरी, लक्ष्मी में थोड़ा चला जाएगा. एंड इन SME स्लाइस बेस है अपना.
Price based तो अगले हफ्ते करेंगे. With
हाँ,
that,
तो अगले हफ्ते
yeah,
करेंगे.
with that, over to you, Rohit. You had something to add on M&B?
Nothing very insightful. Just I feel sad for Satlokar crying in the corner at 20 to 23p, saying he'll grow 100%, while Mainboards that grow 12% get 30 times.
नहीं,
Well,
एक्चुअली दैट इज
this
ऑल्सो फ्रैंकली सतलोकर हैज डन वेल, एंड उसका सैल्यूएशन भी अच्छा है ना. फ्रैंकली आई गेस, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, इतना भी कम नहीं है. आई गेस 20
it's
26 है, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग.
it is
KPZ
20
also,
to
KPZ.
23 times, and if they do grow 100%, it is at 10-11 times FY26. So
क्या बात कर रहे हो, हो इतना सस्ता है.
yeah,
बट नहीं यार, आई एम मोर ऑफ अ मेन बोर्ड गाय, आई विल गो विद M&B.
yeah, that is the problem. SME का discount.
So, but what you
Anyway,
felt on M&B? No, I'll be very frank. चलो, keeping Satlokar, I know, I guess you own that, but what you felt on M&B? Because I thought, like, मेरे को बहुत अच्छी लगी कंपनी, नो, very overweight.
I actually don't have Satlokar, but I have not studied M&B fully. I think little bit Manish told me that this guy's order book is going to be delivered in a very, very short span of time. So that immediate visibility is there. But I want to listen to the interviews and stuff. I've only studied
You
Aditya,
you go
sadly.
and listen. I'll suggest you कि you just go now and listen. You will love the guy. You know, both guys are truly fantastic, and अच्छा है, मतलब, you know, it's a must hear interview. Everyone listeners should go and listen to that. Z Business पे देख लो, या फिर किसी और एक चैनल लिया तो कोई भी देख लो. Z Business was also very good.
Nice. I think that's a very central part, right, of investing, which is the promoter. And that itself, honestly, the market gives a premium to a good promoter. So let me also listen to that.
I'll tell you what happened with me. Okay, ठीक है, मैंने ना पहले इसको कुछ 3-4 दिन पहले ना राइट ऑफ इज रॉन्ग, बट मैंने देखा कि यार आदित्य इन्फोटेक चले जाएंगे तो, और पूरा चले जाएगा. देन व्हाट हैपेंड, वन ऑफ माय फ्रेंड अटेंडेड द अहमदाबाद मीट, ओके, ऑफ द वी सेड, बोले बहुत अच्छी कंपनी, देख भाई तू. देन आई जस्ट वेंट, मेरे को थोड़ा सा इसका क्लिप्स मिला टू सी ऑन द दिस जो रोड शो था बीच का, उसमें थोड़ा सुना मैंने, लाइक व्हाट, टू गुड प्रमोटर. Then I saw one of the interview. Then I was like seriously impressed with the promoter. Then I went and company पढ़ते हैं भाई. Okay, then I thought यार normal है, मतलब इंट्रार्क वाले. Then I understood भाई order book 6 से 8 महीने का है, this. फिर I saw that American तुम्हारा जो है वो certification है, this is the only company, roofing में only company है, first entrant है, saw the clientele, saw, like यार ये तो धंधा है. तो then I read in more depth, then I got more conviction, and then I guess one more the business interview came, I guess 2 days back, that again, you know, increase the conviction. तो मतलब मैं तो इसको रखूंगा पोर्टफोलियो में. अगर ये बहुत ही कम चांस है 30 से नीचे खुले, अगर खुल गया तो I'll be, you know, buying it for sure.
Yep. With that, the order is done. What we plan to do is done. Maybe, Rohit, did you have a chance to look at the subscription at all?
I tried. So, I mean, this is a little confusing. It's because subscription depends as much on GMP as anything else. M&B GMP is going up, and if it goes up, it will obviously subscribe very heavily. If not, it will be quite low. But my sense is with at least Aditya and NSDL, you'll get somewhere, probably BHNI and Aditya will be around 15 times. That is, you'll have a 1/15 chance of getting. NSDL may be, just because of the hype, will probably anywhere from 1/5 to 1/8, something in that range. Then Lotus will be heavily subscribed because GMP is high, so it can be some obscene number. And it's not a very large issue, so it's pretty relevant. It'll be very high. And then MB, I mean, if the GMP stays subdued, I mean, I saw till before this call, I mean, I had not tracked it too closely, but it was hardly like 10-12%. At that, I would imagine maybe 5-6x it would be. But if this goes up to that 20% kind of range, I think last is around 60-65, so it's already 15%. Then there's every chance this will also be subscribed again 15-20 times as people divide their funds. But I'm guessing still Aditya's the best, safest, will give a pop for sure looking at the hype, and is large enough that there's a decent chance of allotment. and then NSDL for getting allotment. Again, as Tanmay is saying, if it gives 10-15% and you have a 1 by, say, 5 chance of getting versus a 1 by 15 or 1 by 20 chance or something similar in M&B, irrespective of the quality of the company, for guys who want to get in and get out, your chance of allotment into the profit you make is probably higher in NSDL. So just from that lens, if M&B is subscribed lesser than expected, then we can see it then. But from the lens of getting allotment and profit, I think Aditya and NSDL. And if M&B GMP stays subdued and the subscription is low, then I also will put my money in that instead of NSDL.
The only problem is NSDL and M&B and a day later. Aditya
Okay.
ends
Assuming
tomorrow, right? So
Aditya, assuming Aditya people will put GMP is high, large enough issue. I know it'll be 1 by 15, 16 times. So it's not like a short thing, but you will probably still give that a shot for the best risk reward. And then if whatever funds you have left, if you can just put in a single IPO, that's unfortunate. But if you can at least put in two,
me,
between NSDL and MB, we can take a call at the last minute. But just that MD is so small that these subscription numbers, people will look at other people subscribing and like between 325 and 330, the subscription will run up so much and you will get fooled. So that way NSDL at least will be safe because it's a large size issue. Its subscription trend will be pretty stable. Well, MNB, you never know.
got it. So with that, we are almost towards closing. It's been a 1 hour 45 minutes space again. I wish we could be slightly shorter, but yeah, it's been a long week. We had so many IPOs to cover. Just wrapping it up, we did cover two SMEs, Kaytex and BD Industries. We did not cover Mehul Color and Techion because they were rather small size. And like there are so many issues to look at that we didn't look at these two. What we'll do is we'll come back next week. Next week is a rather light week in terms of IPOs on the main board. SME mein line hai. Mainboard just two issues, highway infrastructure, and then there's a REIT which is coming, Knowledge Realty Trust. We'll see if we want to do a REIT, but then on SME we have Fly SBS and then quite a few decent issues along with Fly SBS like Cashier Drive, Badora Industries, which is with the cable, Path Electrical. So we'll do quite a few of them. We'll see how we want to do next week's issue. Ideally, next week we'll not do two spaces because like it just takes a toll. We'll probably do one and we'll do a consolidated one where we'll do like 4-5 issues. But this was great meeting you all in the middle of the week. If you haven't heard in this space or या आपने बीच में से join किया था, definitely go ahead and join the YouTube channel, which is in the link is in the pinned comments. आप वहां से जाके YouTube channel को join कर लें. I'll try and put the space tonight itself, but I can't promise. If I don't put it tonight, it will be up by tomorrow morning. And वहां पे आप like I will categorize it and bookmark it so you can listen to any of your IPOs at your own pace. With that, thank you so much everyone for joining. Have a good night ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.